Hello lovely yoga students and welcome to this week's video. As you can see, for the first time I'm back in my studio recording the videos. It's a beautiful day. Looks a bit dark, but it's actually really sunny. Anyway, so this week we're working with chapter 6 of the Bhagavad Gita, and this is all about meditation, the practice of meditation. So we will be doing a bit longer meditation in the class itself if you come, and we're going to be trying to really be inward and focusing and in a kind of meditative state while we're doing the postures. But for the video we're just working with the postures, and I'm going to invite you to have with you either a couple of blocks like this, not too big, like this, that you will need, and a soft block or a cushion to sit on, and obviously you'll need your mat. Today we're going to be working with the upper chest and upper back. So get your stuff together and I will meet you on the mat. Lovely, so come into a nice comfortable seat, whatever's good for you. And we're going to begin as we have been with the hands. So spreading the fingers wide, making a fist, and then we're going to work doing spreading fingers and closing the fists for about a minute, as fast as you can do it. And just trying to just be with what's happening without getting too much into the mind about it, just feeling what's going on. Beautiful. A few more. Being kind on yourself. If it's starting to get really intense, then slow down a bit, but I've been really noticing the difference for myself with this. Okay, so we're going to open the hands wide, and then we're just going to relax and bring the hands down. You can close the eyes if you want to. Just being with what is, maybe going into a slightly meditative state here. Beautiful. Lovely. So next we're going to lift the arms up above the head, reaching through the fingers. And then we're going to turn the hands out as far as they'll go and turn them in as far as they'll go. And then we're going to work with this, going as fast as you can. We've been doing this every week so far, so hopefully some of you are getting the benefits, feeling the benefits of this. A few more of these. Wonderful. Just a few more, making sure you're sitting up nice and straight. Lovely. So then we're going to stop and open the hands and then relax the hands and come down into a quiet place. Closing the eyes or lowering the gaze and just taking a moment here to be with what is. Beautiful. Okay, so we're going to start making some movements with our chest now. Sometimes when we start, we do this. I get you to come all the way forward, make big circles going right from the hips. We're not doing that today. What we're doing is we're going to keep the hands on the knees. We're going to make the movement, but we're going to do it, try and isolate and just do the chest. You'll find that the shoulders will kind of move, and well, everything will move, but what you're trying to do is you're trying to just move the upper back and the chest round in as big a circles as you can, but trying to keep the sort of bottom as still as you can. So a few times around one way, then come to the front and then go back the other way. So really trying to isolate the top of the chest and the top of the back. So really kind of thinking about how the scapulars feel and tuning into the collarbones at the top as well. Beautiful. So once you've done about the same amount of circles both ways, then that's lovely. We're going to come back into a central place, and then I'm going to invite you to bring your hands forward. So taking the hands forward and just going forward to wherever you can go. It might be that that's enough, that's far enough for you. If you can go a bit further, taking the hands right forward. I'm afraid you can't see my hands, but anyway. And then from here, we're going to walk the hands over to one side, so just walking the hands all the way over. What this does is it opens up the whole side of the body, but particularly the chest. So from here, what we can do is we can take a little side bend. So just lifting the arm, not really a side bend, but just lifting the arm up and feeling that opening of the side there, then bringing that hand back down. And then we're going to walk the hands all the way through, so to the middle and then all the way over to the other side. And it will feel very different on each side. And then just lifting up that arm a little way, not very far, just to feel how this opens the side body at the top here. Lovely. And then coming back through to the centre. And then coming back up. So we're going to work with a thing that's a bit similar to that. We did it a couple of weeks ago. So it's a side bend. We're going to take one hand out to the side, bringing the other arm up and taking it across, walking out with the lower hand. And then before we actually go over to the side, what we're going to do is to try and flare out the top of the side back here. So it's like I'm taking a side bend before I've taken a side bend. So trying to flare the ribs out behind and then coming down. Making sure both sit bones stay on the floor. That's it. And then coming back up to the top. We'll do it on the other side. So this hand comes down, walking out that bottom hand. Before you go over, trying to flare the back of the ribs or the side back ribs out before you go over. So you really feel like you're pushing this part of your back out and making sure that you're sitting down equally on both sides. Beautiful. Then coming back to the centre. And I'm going to turn to the side so you can see what we're doing. So I'm sitting up on my block, which helps me to sit up nice and straight like this. We're going to start by just taking the hands out behind, and we're just going to push the chest forward. So we're really pushing into the hands behind, pushing the chest forward and kind of taking a little bit of a look up. But what this does is it really opens the front of the chest, taking the shoulders back. Beautiful. And then from here, we're just going to take hold of the hands, interlace the fingers, take the hands down behind you, and then see if you can just pull them away a little bit. I can't take my hands very far away because my shoulders are really tight, always have been. So this is just really opening for the chest. Beautiful. Lovely. So I'll come back to face you again. And we're going to do some opening of the armpits, which is really good for opening the top of the chest and back. So raising one arm up, doesn't really matter which one you do. And then rather than taking it over, what we're going to do is we're going to take that hand behind us so it sits on the nape of the neck or on the top of the back behind you. Bring the other arm up and grab hold of that elbow and see if you can just pull it backwards a little bit so that this hand here can sort of ride down into the middle of the back a little bit. It may be that you can't get very far, but you know, I'm very stiff, but I can just do what I can do, get into the middle of the back. And then once you're there, it really opens here, which opens up the side of the chest. We're then going to take the other hand down behind and then lift it up. So seeing if you can bring the fingers together. I can't bring them to touch, but I can get a lot further than I used to. So just taking them to where they'll go, trying to tuck this lower elbow behind, breathing here. Beautiful. So we're going to swap over this time. So bringing the other arm up and taking that hand behind, taking hold of the elbow with the other hand. It will probably feel really different. This one to me feels much stiffer. So it will probably feel whatever you feel. Seeing if you can walk those hands down the back a little bit. And then when you're ready, taking the other arm out behind and bending it up. I can't get anywhere near as close this side. So just trying to just really stretch as far up and down as you can, breathing all the time. Beautiful, and trying all the time to stay focused and centered. Lovely, so we're going to open the arms really wide, so this is really opening the chest, seeing how far back you can take the arms, and then we're going to give ourselves a bear hug. We quite often do this, so taking the hands all the way round, tucking them behind the shoulders, and then just giving yourself a little bit of a hug there. And then opening up wide as you can again, and then crossing the arms over the other way. So whichever way they went before, giving yourself another hug here. So we're going to go the first way again. So open the arms up again, take them as far back as possible, then cross them the first way again, give yourself another bear hug. And then from here, keeping the arms, the elbows exactly where they are, see if you can turn the hands so that they're facing upwards, and then we're going to come into eagle arms. So just coming to where you can. I've just about managed to get my fingers onto my palm, and then from here just lifting up slightly. It may be that you can't come all the way, you may be there, and that's fine. Wherever you are, wherever your arms get to, that's perfect. And if you raise up the elbows, this really helps to open the upper back. So we're going to open up again, and then coming back through, crossing the arms the other way, giving yourself a big bear hug here, and then we're going to do the same thing. So, and it will probably feel really different this side. So whatever you can do, raising the elbows up, opening the upper back. I can really feel the scapulars moving apart here. Wonderful, fantastic. Lovely, so we're just going to do a little bit lying on our back. So come and lie down into semi-supine. So this is with your feet down on the mat, lying down, hands either side. Bring the heels in behind your bottom. Just for a moment, just being here. And then I'm going to invite you to open your arms up to shoulder height here. And you can either just drop the knees down with keeping them on the with the feet on the floor, or you can raise the legs into the bottom and then take the knees down. So it's much stronger doing it this way, so make sure that you do what's right for you. You can bring your hand onto the top of that knee if you're doing it this way. My hand here is floating. That's okay as long as it doesn't hurt. And then we're going to look over the other arm. So, you know, this is opening for the hips as well, but it's really opening. It's a beautiful twist, and it's really opening for the top of the chest too. Beautiful. So coming back through, either with your feet on the ground like this, or up into the chest, whatever you're doing, going over the other way and looking over the other arm. Taking a couple of breaths there. Wonderful. So then we're going to come back through, And we're going to do banana pose. So from here, what you're going to do is you're going to, from semi-supine, lift the bottom up and just take it over to one side of the mat. And then take the legs down, but take them to the opposite side and cross, the way that you went, cross that ankle over the other one, but try and make sure that your hips are pushed down. And then we're going to bring the arms up, take hold of the wrist of this same arm as leg, and we're going to just trying to keep the back of both shoulders on the ground, or the back of the chest anyway, taking the arms over to the side. So this is banana pose. It opens up the whole of the side of the body, but it's really good for opening up the side of the chest here. So breathing here, just really allowing whatever's happening to happen, being with the sensation. Wonderful. So then bend the knees, come back into semi-supine and lift the hips and take them all the way to the other side and bring the feet down to this side, crossing over that ankle, bringing the hands together. And this time I'm going to grab that wrist, and then again I can feel this hip has raised up, so I need to try and drop that hip down to the ground and bringing the head over this way. Banana pose this way. I think some people call it something else, I don't know what it might be. So just being with that, really enjoying the stretch along the upper, that's where I can feel it most, in the upper back. Beautiful. Lovely. So by the way, if ever you want to stay for longer in any of these poses, you can just push pause and take a little bit more time in them. But we're going to come up to all fours now. So if you need a pad for your knees, make sure you have a cushion or something. I think I'm okay today. So we're going to have hands just in front of the shoulders, knees under the hips, and we're going to just do some cat and cow to begin. So inhaling, taking the spine to the floor, looking forwards. Exhale, taking the spine to the ceiling, looking between the knees. Inhaling forwards. Exhaling, looking between the knees. Couple more of those. And again, this is really good for you. This, if you want to do more, just hit pause, put pause and do more. But if you're just flowing with me, then we're going to come back into a neutral spine, and then we're going to take threading the needle. So we're going to raise one arm up, leading with the elbow, really feeling like you're really opening through the chest, looking up at this top arm, and then we're going to thread this through. So we're going to take this arm all the way under, taking it as far under as you can go, dropping down onto the back of this shoulder. And then with this you can take the hand forward, and that really opens up this part of the back of the chest, which is really good. Or you can even bring that hand behind in a bind, and then see if you can lift that shoulder and look up, and that really opens the front of the chest and the armpit. Couple of breaths there, and then we'll bring that hand back round to come up to the other side. Nice spread fingers here. Then we're going to go back the other way. So bringing the arm up and then threading that needle through. So bringing it all the way through, taking it as far as you can through before you drop the shoulder. And then, as I say, either taking that arm forward if that works for you. I can feel how that does open the upper back doing that.
or you can bring the arm even up and then have a look, or you can take it into the bind. So just doing what's right for you. Couple of breaths here. Beautiful. And then we're going to come back through and open up. So this is where, if you've got them, I'm going to invite you to bring your 2 blocks that I suggested you have. So we've been doing a a puppy pose. Every one that we've done so far, I think we've done the puppy pose. We're going to do it today, but we're going to do it a bit differently because we're going to use these 2 blocks for putting our elbows on. So it's a bit more opening. It may not be possible for you, and you may be more comfortable just going into the puppy the way we've been doing it. So just taking the hands forward and then just dropping down like this. It's really opening for the chest. So if that feels like that's enough for you and that's what you want to do, then do that. But if you'd like to go a little bit further with it, you can or you can use books, so whatever. And put your elbows onto here. I've come a bit too far forward. So elbows onto here. And then you can take the hands behind you like this. And this gives you a bit more, there's a bit more space, I'm finding, because it means that I can drop my head down. And there's a bit more space here to really open up the armpits. And so it's really opening for the front of the chest. So just doing whichever one of those is right for you. Only staying there for as long as you're comfortable. Don't go bonkers with it. Lovely. And then we're going to come up into the dog, which is a similar kind of feeling really, isn't it? So tucking the toes, we're going to lift up the bottom, keeping the knees nice and bent, okay? And we're going to see if we can relax down, so seeing if we can take the shoulders down as far as they'll go. And then when you've had a couple of breaths here, we can just begin to prepare ourselves for our sun salutations that we do at the end by just doing a little bit of walking the dog here with one heel going down and then the other. And then once you've done that a few times and you feel like you want to have a little bit more of a stretch of the hamstrings, you can just gently move the heels towards the floor. They don't have to get there, still keeping the knees a little bit bent. And just dropping down a little bit further into the dog. Beautiful. Lovely. And then just drop down and we'll come into a nice restful child's pose. If this isn't comfortable, you can come onto your back or into the crocodile, so whatever suits you. Coming down, and it's really nice to bring the hands behind. Lovely. So from here, we're going to just come forward and for a moment, just lie down into the crocodile with the head on the hands and just give yourself a little bit of a wiggle of the pelvis. So then we're going to bring the feet together and we're going to come up to the Sphinx. So elbows underneath the shoulders, and this is a really beautiful pose. So tops of the feet down, elbows underneath the shoulders, just looking down in front of the hands to begin with. And inhaling and exhaling. As you inhale, feeling the abdomen move towards the floor. As you exhale, feeling the navel move towards the spine. And then we're just going to take a little, so we're going to try and lift the chin, take a little look forward. So raising up, really opening the top of the chest here. I mean, this is also quite interesting for the low back, so do make sure that you're looking after yourselves. Wonderful. So then we can come down, bringing the hands to just like next to the, underneath the shoulders here, head to the floor, and then we're just going to take a couple of cobra poses. So trying to keep as little weight on the floor as possible and lifting up, shining through the front of the chest and dropping down. We'll do a couple more of those. So inhaling, shining through the front of the chest, exhaling down. Inhaling up and exhaling down. Wonderful. So again, if you want to come back and have a little rest in the child, nice counter pose. And then we're going to come over onto our bottoms on the other side, and we're going to do something that's quite intense here. So make sure that it's okay for you, and you may only be able to lift up a little way, and that's fine. So I'm going to invite you to bring your hands facing your bottom. If this isn't okay for you, you can have your hands facing outwards like that, or even like that. So whichever way suits you. Then we've got the heels aren't too close to the bottom here, a little bit further out, and all we're doing is we're simply lifting up the bottom and then putting it down. So I can really feel it in the legs, but I can also feel it in the tops of the arms and the chest. So inhaling, lifting up, exhaling, dropping down. So this is reverse tabletop. So inhaling up, exhaling down. It's also really heavy on the wrists, so do be careful. Inhaling up, exhaling down. Beautiful. Well done, everybody. So, last pose that we're going to do here before we come down into Shavasana is where, again, I'm going to invite you to use your blocks. So I'm going to put one block down like this, so it's on its flat side, but lengthways like that. And the other one, I'm going to put just ahead of it on its side. Now we worked, I think it was last week, that we finished with doing a passive fish. So we're going to do the same thing this week, but we're going to have our head supported. So what you do is you come down with either your books or your blocks, whatever it is you're using, and try and lie down and have, see that's a little bit too low, so try and have the top of your back, that's now a bit too, right, so the top of your back on this block, and then feel for this block and have it underneath your head, starting with your knees bent like this, and then you can take the feet out long like this. Beautiful. I've got the feet slightly apart, just letting them relax, and then I bring my hands out long, and here we are. It's this beautiful fish pose, passive fish pose. So we're just really just letting yourself drop here. Now it might be that you just want to stay here for as long as you can, and if you want to, that's beautiful. Just being here, taking lots of lovely deep breaths, opening the chest. So you could do your Shavasana here. Just feel like this is going to be your Shavasana. But if it's not that comfortable for you, then you can take your blocks away and just come and lie down, feet apart, arms away from the body, closing the eyes and just relax down. as long as you like. Don't feel like you have to move. Shavasana is the most important pose of the whole practice. Beautiful. Well, I hope you enjoyed the practice today, and I'm looking forward to seeing some of you on Wednesday this week. If you're not coming to class but you're enjoying these videos and you would like to donate to me, to support me, then I will put the back's details in the email. And yeah, lots of love to everybody. Have a beautiful week if I don't see you. Namaste.